All right, it's Friday, everybody. But I got to tell you, I don't know if we should be excited about that or not. And I'll tell you why. Because another week is gone. Another 7 days have evaporated. You're never going to get that back. But let's not get all caught up in never getting it back, right? I mean, we got rid of 2020, right? We got on to what's next. Things have been happening. The world is going around. Doesn't matter what you like about what's going on. There's always problems. There's always issues. There's always things to be looking at. There's things to be concerned about, right? So what are we doing? What are we doing about it? How are we working today to change our world? What are we doing today to change our world? You know, it doesn't matter which side of an issue you're on. There's always three sides to that issue. There's your side, the other side, and the truth that's somewhere in the middle, right? But what I want to ask you, I don't want to focus on politics. I don't want to talk about what's been going on in the world because I don't. Hi, Celia. I don't want to be focusing on what's going on in the world. What I want to talk about is not the problems that are in the world, but I want to talk about the solution that you can be. I want to talk about the reality that doesn't matter what is going on out there. What have you done to be kind? If you want people to listen to, are you listening to people? If you want people to hear you, right? If you want to have a discussion, you have to be willing to hear. And that doesn't just apply to politics. That applies to marriage. That applies to friendship, right? That applies to workmates. But what have you done to be the answer that you're looking for? 7 more days of your life is gone. And what have you done about it? You know what? I've engaged with a lot of people this last week. I'm very happy to say I've met a lot of new friends this week. I've got to know some other people this week. I've got to listen to their concerns this week, right? And I'm orchestrating solutions for that. I'm trying to figure out what to do to help them. And in helping them, maybe it helps me, maybe it doesn't. But the reality is, what am I doing to make the next 7 days memorable in somebody else's life? Because what I can tell you is the last 7 days are burned into my brain. It's been 7 days like none other in my life. And instead of sit there and look at it and go, well, they did this. It's people like you, those guys. All of those kinds of terms are so wrong because it doesn't matter what they did. What is your response? Where are you sitting in this argument, in this cesspool of what you hate, changing something? You know, we've got great examples out there in people like Mother Teresa, who I will never be, right? But what she didn't do was judge people. She waited. She helped anyway. She continued to give. She continued to listen. She continued to be the person that became something that the other person began to see as somebody they wanted to become like. So I'm going to ask you, when you're looking around and you're seeing what's going on, when was the last time you reached out to somebody for no gain of your own? When was the last time, instead of addressing somebody from the opposite side of the aisle by their political affiliation, you looked at them, looked at their car, their clothes, you took inventory and you figured out one thing that you could identify with them on and you engaged them in that one thing? You know, we've all heard the story about, I believe it was World War I, somewhere in Germany, when they're fighting and everything comes along, and Christmas Day, right? They all put down their weapons. They got together. They shared whatever meal they could. They had a Christmas holiday, and the next day they went back to killing each other. And that's such a stark reality, and it's not much different than the world we live in today. But if you take the time to find that one thing that you have in common with that person, maybe you can not kill them. Maybe you can find a way to make a friend out of somebody that loves dogs and Donald J. Trump. Or maybe you can find a friend out of somebody that loves kayaking and believes in Joe Biden, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that we can find if we want to, but I'm going to ask you, what have you done in the last 7 days to actively find that? Because the reality is, if you're not actively finding that, you're actively part of the problem. And that problem is the core of what's rotten in the world, not in America, but it's constantly finding fault. It's wasting what life you have, pointing at the stick that's in somebody else's eye or the splinter that's in somebody else's eye while you have a log in your own. And I'm here to tell you, my friends, it will never help you. And it won't make the world a better place. And it won't make you feel better as a human. You want to feel great? Connect with somebody about a dog. Dogs are awesome, right? Cats are too. I mean, in their own way, right? Connect with somebody about a hobby. Connect with somebody about something other than something that aggravates you. We've all been to Thanksgiving dinner. We've all been to Christmas dinner, even recently. And there's always that one person in the family that just annoys you. But there's one thing that you know about that person that you're okay with, that you like. Think about that when you're talking to the next person in the grocery store and they're wearing a mask or they're not wearing a mask. Think about that when you're talking about somebody and they've got a Biden 2020 sticker. Don't focus on the Biden 2020 sticker. Don't focus on the Trump sticker. Focus on something about them that you can meet them with. Because you guys, I got to tell you, humanity and life itself does not revolve around politics. It revolves around people. It revolves around who we are in our core. It revolves around the kind of people that we want to be. And I can tell you right now, there's no perfect people on this planet. And so in our imperfection, we need to allow the grace to others that we want for ourselves in other areas. So while you may think it is a reprehensible offense that someone voted a certain way, why don't you find something about them that you can forgive them for? Like the fact that they like dogs, or the fact that they like kayaking or snow skiing, or the fact that they like knitting, cross stitch. They're crafty, right? So instead of finding all the faults with the world, let's not waste the next 7 days continuing to point out what's wrong with everybody and call them and you guys and those people. Because what's wrong with the world today is categories. What's wrong with the world today is everybody looking down their nose at the other person instead of reaching down to pick them up. Guys, I love each and every one of you. I'm glad that you've let me into your day today. I hope that you have a phenomenal weekend. And please, please don't waste the next 7 days.